Starting from today, we're getting monthly news about Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, and today we're looking at the 10 new cars, 14 dealerships, performance and visual customization, multiplayer features, client information, and so much more. And with that being said, we have a lot to cover, so let's jump right in. This is our first look at the dealerships in TDU, and they look so good. I love the ultra modern style they're going for here. I really like how each car stands out and has its own place within the dealership so that each one feels unique. That's actually one of the major things they mention in the article, emphasizing the act of buying a car. Whereas in Forza Horizon, it's just a wheel spin to get car number 357. Solar Crown wants you to seriously consider what car you're buying next. Just like TDU2, you can freely walk around, sit in the cars, test drive them, hence the name, and when you're finally certain you found the car for you, customize it with official manufacturer options like paint, wheels, interior, and finally take those keys. Not without, in their words, money burning in your pocket, of course. So having that connection to the car you've chosen to be yours is just so refreshing to have again. Solar Crown is going to have every type of car, as they list supercars, GT, off-road, and daily drivers. Just another tick towards progression and a sense of achievement in-game. KT's also going to be giving us 14 dealerships across Hong Kong Island, and we can actually make out what 4 of them are going to be already. Let's get the easiest one out of the way first, the classic car showroom in Central District. Immediately, you can see a few returning cars to the franchise. Who can forget the starter car of TDU2, the first gen Mustang GT Fastback? Thankfully, this time not sporting a particular livery though. The Citroen 2CV though is really not a car I expected to ever see again, considering it can't even reach 60 mph. The C1 Corvette, being a car from both previous games and making its debut now in Solar Crown, is pretty nice to see. Off to the side, for a very good reason, is the AC Cobra 427. It's been in the franchise since 1996 and costs well over £1 million today. It's so rare that I wouldn't be surprised if it got its own floor in the showroom. There's another muscle car in the background, but it's a bit hard to make out what it actually is. The closest guess I've seen is a Pontiac GTO, and I highly doubt it's another Mustang, so take that as you will. Next up, despite it saying Solar Crown Showroom, I think it's fair to assume this could be a German showroom. This photo right here has to be one of my favorites, as not only can you see the expansive showroom floor, but you get to see the sheer detail in the Mercedes SLK 55 AMG. Normally, I drive in third person because I like seeing the car itself, but when you have interiors like that, there's no way I won't be looking around everywhere inside at the details. One thing I'd like to point out is that we've got little screen panels for each car. I reckon that's where you get information about the car, so you don't get this giant UI pop-up like TDU2 that ruins your immersion. Behind it is the BMW i8 Roadster, and back there in grey is the second generation Audi R8. Not much to say though, it's kind of a staple in video games. It does seem like the dealership expands behind the concrete pillar, with a yellow car down here and a potential lounge upstairs, which would be awesome if that's true. Alain Jarnou, the creative director, actually mentions how each of these buildings are so-called social hubs, where you can meet and communicate with other players, so that lounge would actually be pretty sweet to have modeled in. I'd like to think this is the upstairs of the same dealership, but I'm not entirely certain. We have 2 Porsches, the 911R, which I spoke about in the last video, and the 918 Spyder, receiving the same treatment as the AC Cobra, being off to the side as an extremely exclusive high-end hypercar. So that's the quote-unquote 2 dealerships that we have photos of, but there's actually 2 other specific ones mentioned in the update. Lamborghini and Ferrari are getting their own distinct dealership, which I expect to be at their real-world locations at Wan Chai and Repulse Bay respectively. But what if you wanted to do more to your car after you buy it? Well, workshops have you covered from both a performance and visual sense. But before we can get into that, can we just appreciate the looks of the workshops? I'm in love with the look of these. It's so futuristic. It kind of reminds me of the dealerships in Star Citizen, but I'm sure that's just me. In these workshops, we'll be able to modify the performance in a much more in-depth way than previous games. 13 specific components for combustion engine cars and 12 for electric cars. Yes, we are getting some full electric cars in Solar Crown, and honestly, I'm rather excited to see what they are because there aren't many electric performance cars out as of right now. We've got 2 new cars in the workshop though. Firstly, the W Motors Finir Super Sport, which you've probably never heard of in your life, but I reckon you've seen another one of their cars, the Lycan Hyper Sport. And over here, finally an Asian car has been spotted. It is a base model 370Z, not the Nismo spec, but it is really nice to see regardless. Before I move on, there's one glaring detail. The fact these pillars say A1 and A2 on them, which were the car classes in TDU2. Honestly, I really don't think these are the car classes, but rather just a little detail for the environment. If you really want to look into it though, the Apollo IE and Finir Supersport are very much comparable in terms of performance, so having them in different classes doesn't really make sense anyways. The workshops aren't just for performance upgrades though. You'll be able to tune your car here by adjusting suspension, gear ratios, etc. for whatever you want. Racing, off-road, and drifting are all things mentioned in the article. You can also change the look of your car with custom paint or liveries, and because this is another one of those social spaces where other people are going to be working on one of their vehicles, you can show off cars to each other in a really amazing looking environment. I mean, it's literally a kami. That's what people have been wanting in racing games for oh so long now, and being able to walk around and look at everyone's cars will be so cool. I'm begging Katie to let us get in and rev each other's cars to complete the full experience. Rather interestingly slipped in here though is some information about the clans, as it says your ties to the shops and streets unlock customization options for each clan. So there's definitely a sort of affinity system in the game. There's also a reputation level, which I assume is your generic player level, and that unlocks more complex tuning options and some customization options. You may have noticed that customization options like body kits, spoilers, and whatnot have not been mentioned. I'm kind of happy about that. This isn't Need for Speed, it's Test Drive Unlimited, and mods like these really don't fit in, and personally I wouldn't want them anyways, so I think it's fair to say Solar Crown won't have body modifications, and that's completely fine. Next, I wanted to showcase just how far things have changed in this short 8-month period, and yes, that's yet another new car, the last gen Ford Mustang GT, but look at how the world map is coming together. If we compare it to last year's alpha screenshots, you can see how simple things like the lighting have changed, as well as minute details like these advertising boards, and I think that's a bus stop. Basically, there's a lot more detail on the street now, including parked traffic cars. I'm really happy with how wide the roads are though. We have this giant Ford Mustang, and it still fits rather snugly into one lane. Sure, it looks wider than it is in real life, but it's also a video game where you'll need a little extra wiggle room regardless. As you can see, there is so much information that they've shared about the game, but now it's back to radio silence, right? Astonishingly, we're getting an update like this every month until the game's launch, including screenshots and info like we've just had today, but also live gameplay sessions with the developers and information on the testing phases. This is so amazing to see. I mean, we're in the year Solar Crown will launch, but I really didn't expect frequent news updates like this until at least summer. I can definitely say with certainty that Katie have been taking their time with the project and also listening to the community. That's why the game was announced almost 3 years ago now, but also why they have an official Discord server. So if you want to get in on the action, I recommend joining in the link I'll leave in the description. And that final finally concludes things. Oh my god, there was so much information. I'd love to hear what you have to think about the update as a whole. Are you happy with some of the new confirmed cars? Or are you excited about the workshops being basically a car meet? Either way, I hope you have a nice rest of the week, and I'll see you soon. Bye! This is the best sounding VTuber in the world. I'm sorry. No, that's a statement. I'm not taking that.